symbol or archiving it for us, and that's the Aeronautical Proficiency Training Network and the Wings Industry Network. If you would like to contribute and help the Florida Aviation Network with this system, we ask you to join us by reaching out to somebody who you'll see in the credits at the end, or go to FloridaAviationNetwork.com. We're looking for more affiliates and partners and volunteers to help. And so we'll be back in a few minutes at 9:30 with my very special guest, Glenn Travis from the Orlando Approach Control. Good morning. My name is John Tenney, and I'm your host today at Plane Time 34 on August 15th. We are here at Gizmo Productions USA in Orlando, Florida at the Omedo Mall. Right now, I want to take a moment to welcome our networking affiliates who are turning our signal or having viewing parties, and also our affiliates who are just supporting us in many different ways. And so I'd like to go down the list, and you hear this every month, but though I'd like to really thank Bill Stull and Joe Weiner in Jacksonville with the Civil Air Patrol, Terry Kurtz from South Lakeland, Glenn Sims in Lakeland with the Civil Air Patrol, Paul Adrian and John Weber in Leesburg with EAA Chapter 534, Barbara Phillips in Orlando with my home chapter, EAA Chapter 74, Bob Jex in Orlando. He's our FAA Program Manager Emeritus, and now he's a member of FAN. Javier Calderon with the Orlando FSDO, Vicki Sherman in Ormond Beach with the Civil Air Patrol, Keith Phillips in Spruce Creek with EAA Chapter 288, Joe Schmaltz in Titusville with EAA Chapter 868, Brianna Wright in Sanford with the Naval Air Station Sanford Information Headquarters, Bill McClung in Tampa with the National Air Safety Foundation and the Florida Aviation Network, Michael Miner in Tampa with the Tampa FSDO, Dennis Hayes in Fort Myers with the EAA, Billy Hadley in Birmingham with the Birmingham FSDO, Sam Gross with the Tampa Fast Team, Barry Simmons in Inverness with EAA Chapter 1674, Tommy Diedemann in Live Oak with EAA Chapter 797, John Licardi and Michael Ketchpaw in Fort Pierce with EAA Chapter 908, Rob Williams in South Carolina with the amazing Triple Tree Aerodrome, Laura Spoler in Orlando with Women in Aviation International, Jim Waymeyer and Cress Wise in the Villages with the Villages Aviation Club, Willis Reese in St. Petersburg with the Civil Air Patrol, Stephen Arroyo at North Palm Beach County Airport with Stephen Sinclair, the president of EAA Chapter 203. And we have some networks turning or archiving our signal. We've got the Aeronautical Proficient Training and the Wings Industry Network. If you would like information on how to become a volunteer and how to help us with, please go to FloridaAviationNetwork.com. Right now we're going to take a short break, but we'll be back at the bottom of the hour with our special guest, Glenn Travis from Orlando Approach Control, who's going to tell us about all those controller things you've always wanted to hear about. So we'll see you shortly. Good morning. It is August 15th. This is Plane Time 34, Segment 1. I'm your host, John Tenney, and my guest today will be Glenn Travis from the Orlando Approach Control, and we're talking about the Orlando-class Bravo and F-11 airspace. But before I do that, I want to introduce you to Glenn, and I want to ask him a few questions. Glenn, thank you, first of all, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We were talking a little bit before the show. You said this is your first professional position as controller, right? You went right from Embry-Riddle?
Embry-Riddle in 2008 to Pensacola Tower. Okay. Had to stop in Oklahoma City for some training, but Pensacola Tower was the facility. Okay. And then went downstairs to Pensacola Tracon.
Isn't that funny? You go downstairs and go up.
Yep. Tower is upstairs. You know, you have to walk up some stairs, and so you go downstairs for more airspace, essentially.
Yes.
And then I came to Orlando. My family's down here, so enjoying a lot of time down here.
And one of the things I really like that you're doing is you're working with your team there to put on these public events where you're coming. You came out to Hangar Talk a couple times.
Yep. Several
other safety team events where you're getting the communication between the pilots and the controllers, not only through the radio, but in person. And I think that makes a huge difference.
I appreciate that. That was one of our goals this year, was to start just education and learn on both sides. I'm not a pilot. I have no idea what y'all do in the air. And I know
you don't want to know.
Yeah. So it's great to learn, for me, it's a learning experience, but also I know our job seems secretive. So it's, why do you do this?
Well, you're in a dark room with a screen in front of you.
Yep, no windows. It's very dark. So don't get a lot of sunlight.
All right, so you have a little presentation prepared for us. You want to take us through that, and tell us about Orlando Class Bravo, the F-11 airspace.
Sure. So we're going to start with the presentation. I'm one of the members of the Orlando Pilot Outreach Group. We started it late last year, and so we'll just get right into it. We call them briefings. So first of all, thank you, John. Thank you, Obi, for inviting me. The FAA safety team, and I didn't know about this, how big this production was, so thank you, all of you in the background that nobody sees on camera, so appreciate it.
It's amazing how many people
there are a lot of people,
to do this.
And it's amazing. So appreciate all of you for having me here. Thank you. So who am I? I'm Glenn Travis, as was stated. I graduated Embry-Riddle in 2008 with a BS in air traffic management. Sent to Pensacola Tower. I was there for about 2 years. Went downstairs to Pensacola Tracon, which is P31. Why they do a letter and a number for terminal radar approach controls, no idea.
Tell them what Tracon means.
Tracon is the approach control. So it stands for Terminal Radar Approach Control. And then in 2015, I came down to Orlando.
Which is still, what, the third busiest approach control in the country right now? Is it close?
I don't know the numbers. I know MCO hit top 7 for passengers recently, and we run all of the aircraft into and out of MCO, so we're pretty far up there. So the Orlando Approach Pilot Outreach Program, we're a team of about 5 controllers. Our primary goal is through education, several means, pilot controller forums, which John mentioned. We have a bi-weekly email, and I'll put that back up at the end of this presentation. It's orlandoradarbriefs@gmail.com. We send an email twice a month, the 1st and the 15th, so I'll be sending it out later today. And the third goal for us is to start tours of our facility and trying to get people into MCO Tower as well. It's not quite set up, but if you send an email to that email and subscribe, you'll definitely know when that is ready to go. So let's go ahead and start. And FAA fashion, it's very boring. We have the 711065, that is the air traffic holy grail, it's our Bible. Everything in there, it tells us what we as air traffic controllers can and can't do. And there's a whole chapter, chapter 7, on the Class Bravo and what procedures we need to apply. It's kind of boring, I'll skip through it, but I'll skip through most of it. But the aircraft has to have operable two-way communication, and you'll see. And you have to have a transponder in order to enter any Class Bravo in the National Airspace System.
And a clearance.
Speaking of clearances, 7-9-2 VFR aircraft that are going into the Class Bravo, you must obtain a clearance. If you call me north of...
I didn't mean to spoil
that.
No.
If you call me around New Smyrna and you're trying to go to Lakeland and I say proceed on course, that is not a clearance. So you have to hear clear through or clear to enter the Orlando Class Bravo. preferably from an Orlando approach controller, not Daytona saying that, or Miami Center, but those are the words you need to hear in order to enter those confines. Continuing on.
Can they do it? Did Daytona clear it? They'd have to coordinate.
They would have to call me and ask for permission in order to do
That's
that.
next segment.
But there are some times when you get busy and maybe you didn't switch the aircraft in a timely manner, and then that aircraft is like, "Can I go in the Bravo?" So maybe it's it can be done, but preferably you hear it from us. So for us, 7-9-2, if you ever want to look into it, we have to either approve, deny the request to go into the Bravo. We need to inform you if you're trying to get to MCO, so you need a Bravo clearance all the way through and into the airport. If we have to hold, we have to give you an expect further clearance time. And then the last thing, we have to tell you when you're leaving the Bravo. So a lot of aircraft, once you cross that line for the Bravo, I say November 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're leaving the Bravo. And then they're like, okay, squawk 1200, goodbye. Nope, don't do that. We're going to give you flight following, but continue. It's just, I have to do this. As you can see in this 7-9-2, I have to tell you you're leaving. So we'll tell you if you're terminated. You'll know.
And you do have that option, though. You can say radar service terminated.
That option's still there, but I've noticed a lot of times where it's like I have to do my duty of telling you you've left the Bravo, and then, okay, it's just 1200. It's like, no, come back. I'll give you flight following. So, yeah. Continuing on, there's some methods to the extent. Yes, we're almost done, I promise.
It's not boring.
Oh, okay.
Not to us. No, you're with people who like this stuff, okay?
So to the extent practical, we have to give larger turbine engine-powered aircraft a Bravo clearance. We have to vector you to remain in the Bravo. If you're going to leave it, then come back in. There's all sorts of stuff that goes into it. I'm ZZZ right now. Here's a picture of my cat.
Well, let's explain. Yeah. Why are you tired?
Yeah.
You worked until when?
I got off at 7:30 this morning.
Yes,
I worked, yes. So I got off at 7:30, drove straight here, and
this is coffee at work. Here,
yes, lots of coffee. We're on cup number 2, so I'm doing pretty good right now.
Right,
yeah,
good.
Yeah. So if you're still awake, those of you that are watching, there's a picture of my cat. Hopefully that woke most of you back up.
It's a very attractive. Yes, bring the cat.
There's more. It's a whole chapter of everything. So separation, I'll stop here for a minute to talk about it. Standard IFR services is to IFR aircraft, so we have to provide 3 miles or 1,000 feet. For a VFR aircraft, and this is why it's boring, if you weigh more than 19,000, we have to give you 1.5 miles separation from another aircraft at the same altitude, or 500 feet vertical separation, or there's a whole another chapter which is there for visual separation and what we can and can't do. If you're less than 19,000 feet, target resolution, and what that means is the blue dots can't touch.
19,000
I'm sorry, 19,000 pounds. Excuse me, thank you.
Oh, no, I love this.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Target resolution, which means the blue dots can't touch, or 500 feet, or that other chapter that we're not going to go into today, visual separation. We have to provide traffic advisories, helicopters. There's a whole chapter on that, and that's recently changed since I put that in here, but we're not talking about helicopters today. The last slide, I promise.
No applause.
Last slide on the Bravo, I promise. We have to give you altitudes based on the MBA, MSA. We can't assign anything below that, and issue altitude assignments in accordance with that FAR, which is basically altitude for direction of flight, which is weird in this part of Florida, so you're probably not going to hear the correct altitude for direction of flight. That's a whole nother story. Hope maybe you'll invite me back and we can talk about it then. But I don't even know the story behind it, so it would be a pretty short story. Last thing on that slide, if you're going to the tower, they have to tell you what number you are when you're landing. So they have to give you your interval. Number 1, clear to land. Number 3, clear to land. So here's the Orlando class Bravo in all of our airspace. It's kind of far from here, but the green pin in the middle is where MCO is. Just north of that, there's another green pin that's executive. Just north of that is Sanford, so you can kind of get an idea of where everything is. I'm sure most of you have seen this, the sectional for the area. When I did a screenshot of this, there was a launch that day, so you can see all that red to the east. And then the sort of red circle is the Disney TFR. But if we zoom in a little bit, I'll make this easier for everyone to see. here is the Orlando class Bravo. In the middle, surface to 10,000, that's where MCO is. Just north of there, for reference, 1,600 to 10,000, exec's right underneath that. Sanford is underneath the dash lines from surface to 3,000, so that's the Charlie, and then above that's the Bravo. All this to say, MCO runways are a north-south configuration, so I would stick to not flying underneath that 1,600-foot shelf just south of MCO when MCO is landing to the north at 1,500. There will be an airliner there at 1,600. It'll cause a TCAS RA, and it's no fun. So if you're going to go underneath the Bravo, try to stick east and west of MCO, going north to south. But if you're VFR, we really can't control what you're going to do. Hopefully you'll learn something here today and maybe not fly in the vicinity, at least north and south of MCO.
No, I have questions.
Yeah.
You said RA.
Yep.
And I know that a lot of people
Oh,
may
yeah.
not understand a resolution advisory.
Mm-hmm.
That's a TCAS warning, traffic collision advisory system. Is that right? And,
I think so.
Alert system, traffic collision
Advisory alert system, yeah.
Yeah, and recently, was it like 15 years ago, if we get an RA,
Yeah.
it's a mandatory report, right?
It depends on the airline, I believe. It's different with each airline. If they get it, they can either determine on their own if they're able to listen to it, but most airlines these days, if they get the resolution advisory that tells them to either climb or descend, they have to listen to it.
Yeah, have to.
Yeah.
It
It's
becomes
not-
extra
yeah.
paperwork that you don't want.
Yep. Yeah, it's no fun. It's no fun for anybody, so yeah.
So your job as a controller,
Mm-hmm.
as the .65 says, there's
Yeah.
actually 3 primary jobs. But the first one is the one you're talking about today. You're supposed to keep the dots from touching,
Yep.
right? Prevent in-air collision.
Yep.
And then the second one is to provide,
That's, the very first sentence in the 7110 is safe, orderly, and efficient flow of traffic.
Yes.
So safe is the first word for a reason,
Okay.
for safety. And then orderly, make sure everyone is in line and not touching, and all the blue dots not touching and all that.
Right.
And then also try to be efficient on top of that.
and then there's a third one, which is to provide assistance to the U.S. military, right?
Yeah.
And I believe Air Force One is included in there.
Yep.
So that's technically a military, well, Air Force One.
Yep.
Yeah. Have you worked Air Force One?
That's a good question.
Can you remember ever doing a call,
I've worked Air Force 2 a few times.
Okay.
And when I was in Pensacola, Air Force One flew into Navy Pensacola, which I didn't work, but at the tower we were able to see him when he departed out the window, so that was pretty cool. But I
Okay.
don't think I've ever actually worked Air Force One.
Because I remember that whole 7110.65 does have this is how boring I am. I've read it,
Yep.
and I remember reading there was a whole section there about handle military
Yep.
traffic and Air Force One. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So you have priorities.
Yeah,
Now-
and there's priorities on top of that with medevac. There's a whole system. There's a whole order of.
So that's what I want to get into, because a lot of people think airlines have priority over general aviation. And is that true?
No.
It's not true at all, is it?
No. We typically do first come, first serve, especially for like practice approaches. However, with the speeds with the airliners, it doesn't always seem like that. But trying with the compact airspace that we can go into whenever you're ready, you'll see that sometimes, especially like, for example, when Sanford is landing to the west, the airspace is very confined. So trying to put multiple Cherokees and Skyhawks doing 90 knots with an airliner doing 180 knots. And so it's typically first come, first serve, but we also need to be efficient with the amount of airspace that we're using as well.
Well, that's one of the things I hope that we pursue in our outreach, is we let people realize, hey, you're not getting pushed out of the way for airliners. Now, medevac is going to
Yes.
push everybody out of the
Correct.
way, right?
Yep.
Anybody with emergency.
Emergencies are first, and
Do you
then
remember the
medevacs.
priority?
No, I'd have to look that up. I'm sorry, I don't have that with me, but I know it's emergencies and medevac, and then there's a list behind that with.
But we, like lighter than air, right? Those
Yeah,
they
yeah,
obviously
they're-
can't maneuver anything they can't
Yeah.
maneuver very well.
Yep.
But the two things that I hear the most are about why do the airliners always get preference? They don't.
Nope, they
I'll
do
tell
not.
you that. I
Yep.
know they don't.
Yep.
Now, sometimes they're going faster and they may move you because it's easier to move the slower plane out of the
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Well, especially with our airspace too, it's very compact, very, very small.
Well, it's the largest training area in the world.
I've heard that. Yes.
So-
yeah.
so.
So,
I think Obi was telling me once that like 70% of the world's pilots are trained in Central Florida.
oh wow, yeah.
I don't know if that's the right number. I just
Yeah.
made that up. But, 70% of all statistics are made up on the spot. You know that,
Yeah.
right? But if I say it 3 times, it
Yeah.
becomes truth.
Yep.
Okay. So,
Yep.
and the other thing is I hear a lot is, what are we doing about drones? Do you have any special program to handle, the drone program?
There is several different numbers that I know about that I know commercial drone pilots can call and do that, and then there's maps out there. I don't know the answer to any of that though, so we're just told that there will be a drone in this area,
Okay.
and then we either avoid it depends on the altitude.
But that's becoming more frequent.
Yes, it is. Yep.
And now they're talking about this air mobility thing.
Yeah.
They're basically drones. Some of them are even unmanned.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I've heard about this one that's going to go between MCO and Tampa.
Yeah. And that Kissimmee and Tampa as well, but that's about all I know of it. I know MCO is supposed to start maybe next year is what I've heard, and there's a team at our facility that's developing all that. I'm not.
So they haven't given you any special procedures yet?
No, but they're being developed, and so.
Well, I tell you, people are talking about
Yeah,
that.
I'm sure.
I'm a little
Yeah.
nervous about getting into a vehicle without a pilot myself.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd do that. I don't think
Yeah.
you'll catch me doing
Yeah.
unmanned.
I think I'd try it once, depending on the cost, but I don't know.
Hey, what is the weirdest thing you've seen while controlling? I mean, if you could think of something strange you've seen, like, how did that happen? That you were allowed to talk about.
I don't know about weird, but when I was in Pensacola, the Blue Angels would fly along the beach every single weekend returning home, the Navy Pensacola, so that was not weird, but fun. When I was at the tower, it's mostly all tower stories because I missed the windows, but there was a flight of probably 20 RVs coming from the west, probably Louisiana, and they came to Pensacola, stopped for fuel, and they all flew as a flight. So that was interesting. I had recently checked out, and number 4 was like, I'm going around. I'm like, I don't know what to do.
So that's interesting, because
Yeah.
if there's a flight, only one of them has their transponder on, right? Otherwise, you're getting alerts.
There's different ways you can set that up. Since maybe Pensacola and Navy, or Pensacola in general, has a lot of military aircraft, they would go out in flights of multiple aircraft at a time. Depending on how they are set up, you can have the first one and the last one have a transponder code. If they're standard formation, just one of them has it. It really depends on what they're trying to do.
Yeah, but like we said, if number 4 goes around, now what do I do?
Yeah. Yeah. And
I maintain
learned
VFR.
I learned after that what to do, and so a lot of flight breakups after that. So I know what to do now.
So what position were you working today?
So on the mid shift or our graveyard shift, it starts at 11:30 to 7:30. So it eventually all gets combined down to all of the airspace.
You were working all the air.
Yeah,
So you're the only controller.
probably from about 1 a.m. till 3 a.m. I was, and then I have a partner. But there's hardly any aircraft coming in. So I think I worked 15 airplanes in 2 hours.
So we got
which is a very low amount.
See, these guys are sharp. Look, they've already got the picture up there for us. So that is, if you can flip to that. You were on that whole area. Well, not the area, the class Charlie.
I can go back here. I was on all. This is all of our airspace. I know it's hard to see from here, but on the very northwest corner is Leesburg. Our airspace goes almost all the way to Lakeland, which is on the southwest corner on that pin.
Okay.
Melbourne's on the southeast corner. That's the edge of our airspace.
Yeah, you handle
essentially.
Melbourne, which is technically in Miami airspace.
Yep. We split between the 2 centers, so Jacksonville Center and Miami Center split right down the middle. Well, it's more northeast to southwest, but it splits our airspace down the middle.
Was it busy?
Last night?
Yeah.
No.
So you spend a lot of your time just looking at an empty scope?
Yeah, I'm also the safety rep at my facility, so I was we're trying to review our Class Bravo right now, so I was doing some work with that.
So okay, so if somebody pops up, you get an audible alert or something?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm just curious how it works.
Yeah.
You know, we were talking, you and I were talking at that coffee with
Yeah.
controllers about the equipment, and you've recently gotten an upgrade?
I don't know about recently. I think it was 2012, 2013
Okay.
was the upgrade.
That's
we
not
went
that
from
recent.
we went from one
For
system.
me, that's recent, but I'm
Yeah,
old.
we went from one system to another, so I know all the movies out there. You'll see the circle scopes with the little blips on it, and then the green line that goes around. That's only I don't think there's any facilities with those left, unless they're military and just haven't upgraded. But to my knowledge, there's no more of those facilities left. It's a computer screen. It's square. You don't see the lines going around anymore.
And it's called stars.
It's
right?
called stars, and I couldn't tell you.
I
I'm
know
not even
that
going to pretend.
Well, we know what TAR stands for, right? The Terminal Approach Radar System, something like that. The Standard Terminal Approach Radar System. I think it's something like that.
Something to that effect, but I don't.
Why don't you guys Google that for us, or whatever you
Yeah.
do, Brave or Yahoo or whatever people
Yeah.
are using now.
I guess the last upgrade we got was that we can use all the radars around us at once. So it's updating almost in real time. So as opposed to before, if we had a blue dot, it would stay here and then 3 seconds later update. But if you're going 200 knots, that's a good mile and a half. Or not, maybe not that far.
So it was going
But
at each
would,
sweep.
yeah, so it would bounce across. Now it's just slowly moving.
So they use a coast protocol for
Mm-hmm.
that, right? I actually worked on that stuff. I
Oh,
was
okay.
an engineer.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome.
That's interesting. So, like, what do you do with one of the radar? You have several outlets.
So we have, I think, 5 total radars that we can use.
Yep.
And then if we lose 2 of them, it just reverts back to bouncing across the screen.
And if 2 go down, really nothing happens.
Nothing essentially happens. It depends which ones go out.
Now,
Tampa,
they're in different locations.
They
right?
are in different locations. So we have rules based on if the tag's within, if the target is within 40 miles of the radar versus 60 miles. That's why the center needs, like most of your en route air traffic control centers need 5 miles as opposed to us, because their radars are very far apart.
Okay.
Ours we're within 40 miles of the radar, so we need 3 miles between 2 IFR aircraft at
And
the same altitude.
I'm sure the location of those radars is classified, right? I know there's one at the airport, but
And I don't know.
I just
And
heard
actually,
in
I
my
don't-
ear we got stars wrong. What was the first ask? Could you tell me again? So Standard Terminal Automated Replacement System.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
way off on that one.
Yep.
Okay,
Excellent.
well,
That's why I wasn't going to guess.
this is what we do here at Playing Time. We learn
Yep.
while we're working.
I also learned, yeah. So,
Yeah, you came
Yep.
away with something.
Yeah.
There's I don't know how much more I can go into, but I obviously when I talk to a controller, I can go on forever,
Yep.
but I might get a little nerdy. So if I get a little nerdy, put your hand up and go like, oh, let's save that one for coffee and controllers.
Yep.
But what does a pilot, I know you want to say this, what do you want to tell the pilots out there when you call Orlando Approach? What should you do? And give us the proper procedure.
sure.
Yeah, and what
So-
doesn't annoy you, do not annoy them. Okay.
if you're VFR, IFR, you already have a code with the tower. If they gave you a clearance, you're going to depart. I don't know what you say at a tower. It's been a long time. There's new rules. And so they're going to give you a code. They're going to take you to the runway. They're going to say clear for takeoff. I don't know anything about that anymore. That was a long time ago for me.
As soon as they
But
see
once-
you on their,
yeah.
like exec,
Yep.
as soon as they see you on their scope, they
Yep.
will tell you to contact
departure.
approach.
Yep. Most of the time when the wheels are being sucked in, or maybe when you get about 500, 600 feet, contact departure. That's when we would prefer that you say on November 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm out of 500 feet for 1,500 feet. And so then I'll tell you to ident.
Since we've got a code.
Yeah, since you already have your code, I'm expecting you.
Okay.
And I see you already. I'm just going to tell you to ident to verify that it's you.
And
and
the
then-
ident is for radar verification, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And that flashes on the
Yep,
screen.
there's a little right next to the November 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It has a little ID and it'll flash a few times.
Okay.
Yep.
Now, if somebody were to say to you, hey, Cessna 32 Bravo, I'm off of runway 7 at exec, I'm 2 miles southwest of exec at 800 feet. Now, that's probably enough to do a radar ID, isn't it?
Yes, we can use position correlation. So you told me you're 2 miles southwest of exec. I see you 2 miles southwest of exec. I can say radar contact.
And I don't have to push the ident. But
No, but
not that it's
most people probably say it anyways. It's
do they?
yeah, most of the time. It really just depends.
So that's mostly for well, it is for the satellite airports, right? You don't ask the guys off MCO to ident.
No, we have a procedure where in the tower, we have these little things called strips. It has all the aircraft information, all the flight plan information, more information than anybody could ever want on it. And it's about 6 inches long and about a quarter, like maybe half an inch wide.
It's physical?
Yeah, so the tower will scan it, and then it prints out right next to me. And then that tells me that that aircraft is departing, and then I see you within.
So you're still using paper strip?
Yeah, I'm still using paper strips.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's so that
Yeah.
you take it. Do they still have those little plastic things you put them in? And
Yeah.
you put them up on the.
Probably not for MCO departure because it's right here. I look at it, oh, you're going to Houston. Okay, looks good, and I file it.
It seems like that's something they could just put on a screen next to you.
I think they're working on that, but I don't know.
Okay, so you tell the pilots, tell me your
So-
altitude.
Yep.
Suppose they're coming in, they haven't talked to you yet.
Yep.
They're coming in from, like, I know this happens all the time. I'm
Yep.
going to Sanford a lot.
Yep.
I need to talk to approach
Yep.
before I can talk to Sanford Tower.
So the big three things are call sign, position, and altitude. We have a lot of airspace around us. It's chunked up.
What about ATIS?
I don't. I'll ask for that later.
You don't care?
The main three things, if you're going to check in with me initially, is I'm November 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm over the Bithlo antennas at this altitude. If you want to include the ATIS, that's great, but I will definitely ask you for it eventually. But right now, I'm just trying to find out who you are and where you are.
Okay.
And make
So
sure
it
if you're
does
in
not
my,
have to be on the initial call.
it could be, but
Okay.
I just want to make sure that you're calling the correct sector.
I'd always learned to do it on the initial call.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's good too, then that's great. But if you're calling me cold, I have
Yeah.
no idea, I wasn't expecting you, so you're throwing a lot of information at me already, I'm probably going to ask you again, like, oh, do you have Bravo?
The rule of three, I remember. You can remember three things.
Yeah. Yep.
That's rule for taxiing too, by the way. I've heard if you
yeah.
give somebody more than 3 taxiways, they're going to ask you to, would you read that again?
Yeah.
So, okay, so I learned something. I thought it was mandatory. You're supposed to say the ATIS, because whenever I do it, they always come back and go, do you have Alpha?
Yep.
You know.
Yeah, I'll probably ask you again because I'm busy doing other things, and then November 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is over here. We're over the Bithlo antennas looking to go to Sanford with Bravo. And it's like,
Glenn, we're pushing up
yep,
against our
yep,
time.
I understand.
Here. I
Yeah.
still have like a lot of nerd questions left. But
Yep.
thank you for answering them. I want to thank you for coming out and joining us
No, I
today.
thank you.
I
Thank you for
hope we
having
have
me.
you back because I want to get into it deeper. Thank
Yep,
you for being here
appreciate
with
you.
us today.
Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us here on Plane Time 34 on August 15th. This is segment 1. After this, we're going to take a short break, but during the credits, there will be the Wings code. You get Wings credit for watching this. Just look for that code, and there will be an email that you send that Wings code to get Wings credit. I'm John Tenney. Thanks for joining us. I just want to say on behalf of Glenn and myself, thank you for being with us today.
stuff would take easily 22 minutes and we'd run out of time.